So while she's setting up her computer, how's everyone doing today? Good. So I can see only Uncle and Manasvi and Pune Prabhu. So if you are comfortable, feel free to switch on your cameras. That may make it more personal for everyone. Are you presenting on Nityanand Prabhu? I think she might have lost a connection, so she will be reconnecting most likely. So we can probably chant more till she's reconnecting. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram,
Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Okay, she's
Hare
back.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Okay, Hare Krishna, everybody. So I just want to take a moment to thank two people for letting me do this today. I wasn't signed up, but because of Papa and Dhir Krishna Prabhu, I can actually do this presentation today. And this little act of service. So thank you so much for giving me this little service. The topic that I chose is Sri Nityanand Prabhu. And so let me go ahead. So it is said actually, and I actually found this one image of him, which I thought was really cool. So I tried to kind of be fun and like do this little bright thing. But so Lord Nityananda, just starting off, he is known as many things. He's known as Nitai. He's known as Nityananda Ram and Nityananda Prabhu. And he is the incarnation of Lord Balaram in Kali Yuga, and he's a very, very close associate of Lord Chaitanya. So there was something that I read about him that actually really stood out. And it was by Narottam Das Thakur, who writes that one will get the soothing moonlight of millions of moons when one takes shelter of Lord Nityananda's lotus feet. So I think that's really, really important because Lord Nityananda represents the Guru. He's the universal Guru and the first, I guess he's known as like the first Guru. So in order for us to get Lord Chaitanya's mercy, we have to go through Lord Nityananda, because if you look at, I think from our perspective as aspiring devotees, the only way we can really get Krishna is taking shelter of a pious guru, like for example, Srila Prabhupada, pious and, you know, completely leading by example. So being under the shelter of someone like, let's say, Srila Prabhupada or Lord Nityananda, they are the ones that connect us to the disciplic succession, and they kind of connect us to Krishna. So moving on. So I've kind of decided to break this presentation up in three ways. The first being his birth and his childhood. So what I learned is that he was born in 1473 in Ekachakra, West Bengal. And he was born on the auspicious 13th day, or the Trayodashi of the bright fortnight in the month of Magha, which actually just passed. We just celebrated Nityananda Trayodashi. And this picture that I found is actually a picture of the Garbhasva temple, which kind of commemorates the place of Lord Nityananda's birth. His parents were Harai Pandit, who was a very, very pious Brahmana, and his mother was Padmavati. And when he was a child, he used to enact the pastimes of Lord Krishna, Lord Ram, Lord Vamanadev, and many, many such pastimes that relate to Krishna. And because of this, he was really, really dear to everybody in Ekachakra Dham. And then moving on, so then another thing that I kind of broke this up into is kind of his pilgrimage. So what happened was he was in Ekachakra Dham until he was 12. And then at the age of 13, a sannyasi actually visited the Lord's home, and he requested his parents to send Nitai with him. So at first they were very, very reluctant, and they were very sad to kind of part ways, but because they themselves were very pious devotees, and they really believed in the Vedic culture and the traditions, they let him go. And then with this certain sannyasi, he traveled to holy places in both north and south of India. What he did was, when he traveled to these places, what he was thinking is that when he was growing up in Ekachakra, he really, really wanted to be reunited with the Lord. However, he knew that the Lord had not come yet and was going to come. So he kind of, what was on his mind was like, you know what, I'm going to do my pastimes here. And then when it's the right time, I will meet the Lord. So as he was traveling to these places, what was on his mind is that he wanted to purify all of these holy places from any leftover sins that pilgrims might have left behind with them. Because he is the merciful Lord and he is Guru, he wanted to do that for the devotees. He also ends up visiting places like Gaya, Kashi, Prayag, Mathura, Govardhan, Hastinapur, Dwarka, Ayodhya, Haridwar, and many, many other places, and also many, many holy rivers. And kind of during this phase of his travels, he ends up meeting Madhavendra Puri, Ishwara Puri, and Brahmananda Puri, with whom he enjoyed ecstatic Krishna Kirtan. And then finally, like when he reaches Jagannath Puri, he takes darshan of Lord Jagannath and drowns in an ocean of bliss. And then moving on. So kind of the third way that I broke this up is his meeting Lord Chaitanya. And moving on. There we go. Okay. So Lord Nityananda was around the age of 32 when he reunites with Lord Chaitanya in Kali Yuga in 1506. And at this point in time is when he really, really takes on his role of spiritual master, which ends up playing a huge part in him spreading the Yuga Dharma of Sankirtana. And he basically did this all over Gauda Desh. And through his mercy, Raghunath Das Goswami starts the Panihati festival in order to serve Lord Chaitanya. Also at this time, a lot of people that you might have not expected, like Lord Chaitanya really gives his mercy, and Krishna gives his mercy to, those devotees that really, really have a lot of bhakti and a lot of love for him. However, the difference between Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda is that Lord Nityananda will give the mercy to those who don't even take the Lord's name, or maybe in our eyes don't even deserve it. He's that merciful. And this is kind of this is the point in his life where that really comes in the forefront. More specifically, when he, in that pastime with Jagai and Madhai, that's really kind of very exemplary of this fact. So I think everybody knows this story. It's very, very famous, but just in a nutshell, Lord Nityananda was going from house to house and trying to spread love of God and love of Krishna. And at this point in time, a lot of people accepted it, but a lot of people also didn't and ridiculed him. But he kind of took that, he kind of took that in like the right spirit and with a smile. It didn't really affect him. However, there were these two miscreants, I would say, called Jagai and Madhai, who, they were drunks. They really, really were not good people, never really took the name of the Lord. They possessed every bad habit that you could think of. And Lord Nityananda was looking at them and was like, let me go and give them some mercy, some Krishna prem. And they kind of retorted back with just, humiliating him and insulting him, but he didn't really think twice about it until Madhai hits him with like a clay, I think the description is a clay pot or a clay urn, and he wounds him. And then when this kind of goes back to Lord Chaitanya, he gets very, very upset, and he pretty much charges towards Jagai and Madhai. And he pulls out his Sudarshan and is ready to kill both of these people. However, because Lord Nityananda is so merciful, he doesn't say like, oh, yes, Lord, they hit me, they did this, they did that. He doesn't go describing everything that they did, but rather he looks at the bright side of things and says, no, you know what? Actually, Jagai is the one who saved me, and he's the one who tried to stop Madhai from hitting me. So please, please, please forgive him, and please give him your mercy. And because of that, Lord Chaitanya forgives Jagai in an instant. However, for Madhai, he says, since you've hurt my dear devotee and my dear friend, my earning my trust is not going to be that easy. However, Lord Nityananda really championed that Lord Chaitanya forgive both of these, I can say devotees because they did eventually become devotees. And I think what Madhai had to do is really prove himself, and then Lord Chaitanya finally gave him his mercy. So, this, like I was saying earlier, this pastime really, really describes how, we in the material world, sometimes, especially, we're lucky that we have Krishna consciousness and we've been in contact with devotees, and, we have the teachings of Srila Prabhupada, but, by ourselves, this is kind of the life that we were leading in a way, and maybe not this extreme, and because of the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we got connected to Krishna through his books, through his lectures, through kirtan, and so many other ways, and through seeing the deities, we were able to kind of cultivate that love. And in the same respect, because Lord Nityananda is the universal guru, or the universal guru, the spiritual master, he really gave these two miscreants a chance to connect with Lord Chaitanya. And in the same way, Prabhupada gives that chance to us to connect with Krishna. So I think that's something that, we really, it really, it gives us a lot of hope, and it gives us a chance to improve our lives and come closer to Krishna, which is what the guru does. So that is a really, really nice pastime. And just another pastime that I was kind of reading about before, when I was just researching for this, which I thought was very, very sweet, was when Lord Nityananda and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were reunited, and they were having prasad together. And I think Mother Sachi was also serving them. When she came back to give them prasad, she didn't see two, like Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya there. She actually sees two young babies there, one who is a light color, who has a light skin tone, and one who has a darker complexion. So, and because after seeing this, she becomes so ecstatic that she faints. And then Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda have to kind of bring her back to her senses, and, and she just experiences so much bliss. And I think that's something that we also, when we, when we see Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, obviously we think of Krishna and Balaram, and that gives us so much love and so much, so much bliss. So that I thought was a really, really sweet pastime. And just to kind of quickly wrap things up, when I was reading about Lord Nityananda, what I found interesting is that when he wound up his earthly pastimes, how he did it was that he entered into the deity of Bankim Rai, which is Krishna. And this is, these deities are very close to Ekachakra. And I just thought that that was very interesting. And, these are very beautiful deities. So I figured I would just add these on so everybody can take their darshan. But that like that is kind of my presentation, like in a nutshell. Just a little bit about Nityanand Prabhu. Of course, there are so many pastimes, and you know, one can go on for hours about their his glories. But really, I think what the takeaway is that he is a spiritual master, and he is the one that connects us to Lord Chaitanya. So if we want to approach Lord Chaitanya, we have to approach Lord Nityananda and seek his mercy, because there's really no other way that we can do it without the guidance and the love and the mercy from the Guru. So that's kind of the main takeaway after I read about him. So Hare Krishna, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And that's just a little bit about Lord Nityananda.
Hare Krishna, wonderful, very nice presentation. And I mean, you tried to complete it on time, but we all know the glories of Lord Nityananda is like an ocean.
Yeah.
Hard to complete. But still you covered all the main points and the main tattva. Thank you so much for this beautiful presentation.
Thank you, Prabhu.
And thank you for covering for Amar Prabhu.
No, absolutely. Papa gave me a service, so I couldn't say no.
Haribol, Haribol. So devotees, any question, any comments, or anything you would like to add or ask, please feel free to unmute yourself. This was such a beautiful presentation.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, what is Panihati festival?
Okay, Mataji would like to explain a little bit more about.
Prabhuji, you can go ahead, please.
Sorry?
I said, Prabhuji, go ahead, please.
Okay, so this is the festival which was conducted by Lord Nityananda and devotees in Bengal, and it was on the river Ganges, and devotees were having a lot of kirtan, lot of fun, and it is also called as I think Dahi Chivda festival. So they started feeding each other dahi and chuda, right, the dish, and it was a symbol of serving the devotees with love, and you know how we can serve them, how can we get together with them, and it's a long pastime. And but in the nutshell, it was a representation of how we should serve the devotees and get together with them and do sankirtan at any place, at any time, without any rules and regulations. And it is initiated by Lord Nityanand Prabhu and Raghunath Das.
Thank you.
Yeah. And it is still celebrated every year in the same place near Calcutta on the banks of River Ganges. So thank you so much again. Anyone else would like to ask any question or any other comments?
Hare Krishna. Thank you so
Mataji.
Thank you for presentation. It's really awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me.
Yeah. The way you presented, sorry, it's echo. So you bring up all the details in such a short time. Thank you. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Looking forward to hear more from you.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. I know I tried to kind of keep it in the time limit, but of course, there's so much that we can say in Lord Nityananda's glories and everything. So just try to nitpick like some important information about him, and that's it.
Sure. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the most important thing about Lord Nityanand Prabhu, who is none other than Lord Balram, like Manasvi Mataji repeated a couple of times, he is the Guru Tattva, original Guru Tattva, the original spiritual master. So he is the original spiritual master, and all the living gurus in the bona fide paramparas are his manifestation. And that's why we say Guru is none other than Lord Krishna, because Balram or Nityanand is also none other than Krishna himself. So that's the relationship there. So one more chance, if anyone would like to add anything or comment or encourage her also, you can say a few good words also, that's fine.
Manasvi, this is a very good presentation.
Thank you.
Hari
So
bol.
much. Thank you. Thank you for the encouragement.
Okay, wonderful. So we'll start with the next part of the program. Thank you so much, Manasvi Mataji. Thank you again. And we look forward for your turn is still there. So it doesn't mean that your turn has gone. And even Amar Prabhu will have to,
This is filling in for Papa and then I do my own.
Yeah, so he will have his separate slot again and you will have your own self slot again.
Sure, Prabhuji.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay, so we will move to the next part of the program, which is our Bhagavad Gita study. We'll do little kirtan before that. Give me just 1 second. Okay, so we'll start with Jai Radha Madhav, and then we'll start with the study. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvardhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yash Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Go Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvardhari Yashoda Nandana Brajjana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Gaur Premanandi, Hari Bol. Let's do Manglacharan and take the blessings of our spiritual masters, the whole Guru Parampara, so that we can try to understand this transcendental knowledge as best as we can by their mercy. Om Agyantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutpad Kamlam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijan Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyati Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we will continue our reading with Bhagavad Gita verse 14. Na kartatvam na karmani lokasya srajati prabhu na karma fal samyogam swabhavastu pravartate. Anyone would like to recite? Please unmute yourself.
Na kartritva
न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभु न कर्म फलसंयोगं स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते.
na kartrutvam na karmani lokasya srijati prabhu na karma phala sanyogam swabhavastu pravartate.
Anyone else?
न कर्मा त्वं न कर्माणि लोकन्य सृजति प्रभु न कर्म फलनं योगं स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते.
Okay. Word to word meaning. Na, never. Kartatvam, proprietorship. Na, nor. Karmani, activities. Lokasya, of the people. Shrujati, creates. Prabhu, the master of the city of the body. Na, nor. Karma phal, with the results of activities. Samyogam, connection. Swabhava, the modes of material nature. Tu, but. Pravartate, act. Translation: the embodied spirit, master of the city of his body, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anyone would like to read the purport?
I can read it, Prabhu.
Please. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The living entity, as will be explained in the 7th chapter, is one of the energies or natures of the Supreme Lord, but is distinct from matter, which is another nature called inferior of the Lord. Somehow the superior nature, the living entity, has been in contact with material nature since time immemorial. The temporary body or material dwelling place which he obtains is the cause of varieties of activities and their resultant actions. Living in such a conditional atmosphere, one suffers the results of the activities of the body by identifying himself in ignorance with the body. It is ignorance acquired from time immemorial that is the cause of bodily suffering and distress. As soon as the living entity becomes aloof from the activities of the body, he becomes free from the reactions as well. As long as he is in the city of the body, he appears to be the master of it, but actually he is neither its proprietor nor controller of its actions and reactions. He is simply in the midst of the material ocean struggling for existence. The waves of the ocean are tossing him, and he has no control over them. His best solution is to get out of the water by transcendental Krishna consciousness. That alone will save him from all turmoil.
Hari Bol. Wonderful, wonderful purport. So anyone remember what did we discuss in the last verse? You can raise your hand. And if you can't find the button to raise your hand, you can unmute yourself and speak. What did we discuss in the last verse? Because it's important to just recap quickly. Okay, no problem. So the last verse, we discussed about 9 gates, right? Nav Dware Pure, soul placed in the city of 9 gates. 2 eyes, nostrils, ears, mouth, anus, and genitals. And why did we discuss that? Because, let's go back to the verse. Sorry, I'm thinking I'm sharing the presentation, but I was not. Hold on. So just keep this picture in mind for the 9 gates that we discussed in the last verse. Okay. And I will come back to the verse. So before we start, again, just a reminder that the purpose we assemble here is to discuss, just not to listen, so that we can participate and we can get benefited by each other's understanding and realizations. Because just to hear, we have a lot of kathas online. We can hear a lot of wonderful devotees have given wonderful, wonderful kathas. But idea here is to discuss and get more realizations. So in the last verse, we discussed when the embodied living being controls his nature and mentally renounces all actions, he resides happily in the 9 gates. So the outcome was that how one can attain peace And then once somebody is peaceful, how he can become happy. So by not identifying with these 9 gates of the body, because remember the example of train, we discussed how through these 9 gates of the body, soul, this lot of interaction is happening, input and output. And we discussed the example of train, how when somebody is traveling, he doesn't get bewildered or disturbed by so many things going on in the train, right? The chai wala, the mungfali wala, like the ticket checker, then somebody will just sit on your seat. So much disturbance. But the person who is intelligent, he knows that, oh, I'm not attached to this particular situation because I will just reach in my destination soon. So he doesn't get affected. Similarly, the soul, the real self, the living entity doesn't get bewildered with all those interactions happening through the 9 gates of the body. So we can continue from there. Now, so in this chapter earlier, we discussed how can one attain peace. So the answer was by offering all the results of our actions. Remember the chapter is action in Krishna consciousness. So how can we perform actions directly in devotional service? So by offering all the results of all our actions to Krishna. So to make all our actions as devotional service, one can attain peace. And after peace comes happiness, sukha. And after that, what happens? Now, how and why one gets this happiness? To understand this, we have to understand what is the main question, the high level question. The main question is, who is the actual doer? And what is the cause of these actions that we are doing? And who is responsible for this karma? Again, who is the real doer? What is the cause of these actions that we perform, this karma? And who is responsible for this karma? Because in every action, there are 3 main players. Please listen to this attentively. For each action that we perform, there are three key players. One is the jiva, the soul, ourselves. Ishwar, the supreme God, because without his permission, we have heard so many times, even a blade of grass will not move without the permission or sanction of Krishna. And third one is Prakriti, the nature. So in the previous verse, so let's keep that picture in mind of 9 gates, and then we will go to. So one thing here is Prabhu. The word used is Prabhu, the master, right? And although this soul, Prabhu, is the master of the city of this body, it is not responsible for the activities. Okay, so that's very interesting to understand. Now, generally we say like Prabhu, Hare Krishna Prabhu, right? What does it mean? You are my master. So I'm your servant. Other word to say that is I'm your servant. So when we say somebody Prabhu, we really need to act like that, not just sweet words. When we say somebody Prabhu, it means we are here to serve that person, that devotee, as his servant, as his well-wisher. That's why Srila Prabhupada always used to write in his letters in communication, your ever well-wisher. And he used to say, I'm the servant of my disciples also. I'm here to serve them, to get them out of this misery of birth and death. So just wanted to bring that point because the word is used here in this verse, Prabhu. It's a very, very auspicious word. So whenever we say somebody Prabhu, we should maintain the dignity also that we really mean it. So what Krishna is saying here, that the activities are not done by the soul. The soul is not responsible for the activity, but the modes of material nature are responsible. Now it could be very confusing. And remember, I already warned everybody after chapter 4, it's going to be very confusing also. Reading is one thing, and understanding and putting in practice is different thing. So we'll try our best. Even I'm not the expert. I'm just trying to serve to coordinate. So we all together will discuss and try to understand. And one thing also I want to mention is then when we are studying these Bhagavad Gita, these verses, our goal is not to finish it quickly. Our goal is, because if you have observed, whenever a speaker is coming or, then we are just not understanding the particular verse. We are also getting the inputs from Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, other scriptures also. So the idea is to get trained in the science of devotion service. The idea is not just to, just know the meaning of this verse. That is not the idea of this program. Idea is to get ourselves trained in the science of Krishna consciousness. That is the main idea. Rest all is secondary. So that's why we take so much time to understand and discuss these difficult verses. Okay, so just wanted to bring everybody on the same page. So what is the mode of material nature? Can anyone try to answer? What do we mean by these modes of material nature? What is our understanding based on the teaching of Bhagavad Gita? You can raise your hand or you can unmute. Okay, Vishaka, go ahead.
Based on some of my understanding, there are usually people name 3 modes of material nature: mode of ignorance, mode of passion, mode of goodness.
Yes.
Which are just like the result of our past activities.
Yes. Yeah. So these are the modes of material nature. Very rightly said. The material nature, it consists, this Prakriti, it consists of 3 modes: the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. All our actions in this material world are combination of all these. Somebody might be in the mode of passion, somebody might be in the mode of goodness, somebody is in the mode of ignorance, somebody is in the various combination of these 3 modes. All living entities. And based on these propensities and this combination of these modes, we get the body also in this the next life and the current life. Okay, so it's very important to understand that the living entity is one of the energies of nature of Supreme Lord, but is distinct from the matter, which is another nature called inferior of the Lord. Now, what are these energies we are talking about? These are the various energies of Supreme Lord. So let's try to understand those energies. These are various energies of Krishna. Everything in this world, in this creation, is Krishna's energy, whether it's a material world or a spiritual world, right? So there are 2 main superior energies, spiritual and material. And material is inferior energy because it is connected with the material world. It is also called as external energy. And the spiritual is internal energy. Okay. And where do we belong to? We belong to the superior energy of Krishna, superior nature of Krishna, but we are not internal energy. We are marginal. Why are we marginal? Because based on our desire, we are always on the border. We can fall into the material world or we can fall into the spiritual world. It depends on our desire, our free will. If it's very important to make these concepts clear to understand this science of Krishna consciousness. Now, when we come to internal, then we must have heard these words: Sat, Chit, Anand. These are 3 main internal energy of Krishna, and Radharani is the owner of Aladhani energy, which is pure love of God. So this is a very broad topic. For our purpose, what we have to understand, that we are part of superior energy, but still we are marginal. Okay. So again, this slide shows everything in this verse. On the left, you can see how the 3 modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, they are controlling the living entities. And these are working under direction of Krishna. So energies of Lord, superior energy, inferior energy. So let's go back to the verse again now. Now, somehow this living entity has been in contact with material nature, right? We all know we have been in this material world since time immemorial. We don't even know since when we came in contact with this material nature. And we have been going through this cycle of birth and death, sufferings, everything. This temporary experiences of happiness and distresses, right? So does anyone remember for how long we have been? No, right? From time immemorial. That is the only word we can use. Nobody knows. Because if we talk about when this creation started and all that, we all know just one day of Brahma is how long? Billions of years. Forget about one Brahma's life, and then the creation is cyclic, and we all have heard those concepts, right? So from time immemorial, we have forgotten Krishna. The reason we are in this world, material world, is because we showed our back to Krishna. We became envious of him. We have to accept that. It's very difficult for us now to experience that, because Krishna is now, we know he's Bhagwan and all that. But in reality, the reason we came in contact with this material world, because we became envious of him. Why he is the only one who is enjoying? Why not me? I want to be the king. So Krishna says, okay, you cannot be king in the spiritual world. So but like a loving father, he created this creation, this material world for us. Because of our propensity to lord it over the nature, we want to become the king of, we want to control everybody, right? We call ourselves servant, but still we want to control others. And that's why we are entrapped in this material world. There is a beautiful verse that comes in Bhagavad Gita. Iksha dvesh samuthena dvand mohan bharata. Because of this desire and dvesh, envy, a living entity is entrapped in this world of duality, dvand. Happiness, distress, good, bad, all that. And since we do not know that we have been trapped in this body for how long, because think about it, how can we even remember? We can't even remember what happened a year back. Somebody asked us about an event, we can't even remember that. Forget about 1 year, can't even remember what happened last week. We have to take a break, think about it, maybe create some stories, and then come up with the answer. Even yesterday, if somebody asked, what did you wear or wore yesterday? What did you eat yesterday? You will take some time, right? So our memory is very short. We can't even remember the events of this life. Forget about the millions, billions of lifetimes. So the idea is that since long time we have been entrapped, and what is the solution then? If somebody wants to come out of this trap, what is the solution? Now, this body is given to us because of our desires, so that we can execute our desires, and so that we can, and as a result of that, when we create actions, the actions is actually not done by the soul, but by this body, right? Right? And when this, due to desire, whether our desire is in the mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance, accordingly, these modes of nature will control us in that manner. So how to understand that? So for example, let's say a child, a small child, suddenly wakes up in the night, crying and shouting, oh, there is a monster, there is a monster, there is a monster. The parents will wake up, and what will they do? They will just console him that there is really no monster, there is no such things as monster, right? It was your dream. It was your illusion. So they will try to educate the child, right? Similarly, the process that is given to us to get rid of this illusion, because what is the illusion? We are thinking we are this body. And that's why we are feeling these pains and sufferings or even temporary happiness. But actually, we are not this body. This is an illusion. We have acquired this body to fulfill our desires, but we are separate from this body. That is the basic idea. So what is the process given here to get out of this trap, or to understand? The best solution is to follow the process of Krishna consciousness. That alone will save us from this turmoil. So let me share one very nice bhajan that comes in this sequence. So just like the parents will wake up this child, wake up the child and explain to him that it was just your dream, just wake up, there is no monster. So there is a beautiful bhajan by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur that beautifully explains this this concept. Let me find it if I have it opened here. Yep. Let me know if you can see that.
Yeah, we can hear.
Okay. Is it big enough? Let me. Okay. So it is, we all can sing, and we can try to, then we will understand the meaning also. Jeeva jago, Jeeva jago, Gaura Chand bole, Kota netra jao maya, Pisachi rakole. जीव जागो, जीव जागो, गौरा चंद बोले, भजी बोलिया
संतरा बिताए भूलिया रहिले तुमी अवितार भारे जीव जागो, जीव जागो, गौरचंद्र बोले तुम्हारा लइते হইলো অবতারা আমি বিনা বন্ধুয়ারা
কে
আছে তোমারা
এনেছি অসুধি
নাশিবার লাগি হরি নাম
মন্ত্র
তুমি মাগি
ভক্তি
বিনয়না প্রভু চরণে বাড়িয়া से हरि नाम मंत्र दाऊ मादिया
जीव जागो, जीव जागो, गौरा चंद बोले. So Lord Gauranga, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is calling, wake up, sleeping souls, wake up. How long will you sleep in the lap of the witch called Maya? He's waking up us from this illusion, this dream. You have forgotten the way of devotional service and are lost in the world of birth and death. I have descended just to save you. Other than myself, you have no friend in this world. Krishna is claiming, I am only your real friend. Everyone else in this world is here to misguide you, is to make you more attached to your body, to your material world. Only Krishna and my devotees are there, who are your real friends. I have brought the medicine that will wipe out the disease of illusion from which you are suffering. Take this Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare Ram,
Hare Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram, Hare Hare.
Ram, Hare Hare.
So this is the only medicine. What is being said in this verse, that our only remedy is to come out, the only remedy to come out of this illusion and this cycle of distress and temporary happiness, birth, death, and whatnot is this Mahamantra. And Lord Gauranga is claiming that take this Mahamantra, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, I fall at the Lord's feet having taken this Mahamantra. I accept this Mahamantra. Why? Because Lord Gauranga has brought it from Goloka. Goloka Premadhan Harinam Sankirtan. So the only remedy is this Harinam Sankirtan. Okay. So it's already 8:50. Let me see if there are any questions now, or I can cover more few points there. Any questions so far? Did it make sense? Do we agree? See, as the devotee or as sadhakas, as we grow in Krishna consciousness, what happens? We get surcharged with these spiritual qualities. Because His Grace Shyam Sundar Prabhu, a wonderful disciple of Srila Prabhupada, he mentions in his book, Chasing the Rhinos, that how the devotees were so surcharged when they were with Srila Prabhupada. They were total 24/7, they were engaged in devotional service. And they were not worried about any sleep, any fatigue. They were 24/7, they were planning how to spread the movement, how to deliver how to go to this country, how to do the book distribution, how can we open more temples. Everyone is focused on that, right? And so the idea is they were beyond the effect of this material nature. They were not feeling any tiredness, no sleep. Even Srila Prabhupada, he traveled around the world so many times, at least 14 times around the whole world, not just India or America, just one country. And what was his schedule? He never ever felt any jet lag. All his secretaries, all his personal servants, they say wherever Srila Prabhupada was, in whatever country, whatever city, his schedule was still the same. Same time he will wake up, same time he will do his chanting, same time he will, right away. What happens to us when we just go to India? It takes about a week for us to recover. And when we come back, a month to recover, probably. To come back to the routine. So this is what happened when we are engaged in this. So that is why we have to put in action, Krishna consciousness in action. This is the practice. This is the practice to spiritualize our body when we serve Krishna and devotees. And we serve the mission of Krishna, then this is our practice to spiritualize our body. And we'll see these things. We have seen devotees. They are so enthusiastic, always planning for Krishna. This festival, that program, let's go there, let's do this book distribution, let's do this prasadam distribution. Never idle. Always planning for Krishna. Always ready for Krishna. And they will do their chanting also, at least 2 hours every morning, early morning. So, and they will do their assigned duties, material duties also perfectly, without any lethargy. But always enthusiastic, never ever feeling, no excuse, right? I have this, I'm tired, nothing, no excuse. But that stage comes when we are genuinely serving under the guidance of spiritual master, and we are serving the devotees, and our chanting is good. We are chanting consistently every day without fail. So we start feeling these transcendental qualities. Srila Prabhupada, I just heard in one of the memories video, he said I can cook for, and he demonstrated, I can cook for 100 devotees, 100 people in 45 minutes. So a disciple said, yeah, or I think one of the other Maharaj said, yeah, Prabhupada, probably you can cook khichdi for 100 people. He said, no, the full meal. And full meal, Srila Prabhupada's full meal is at least 5-6 vegetables, at least 2 sweets, at least 1 snack, and of course rice and rotis or puris, whatever. So he can cook for 100 people in 45 minutes. Again, we cannot imitate him, but idea is because he's a pure devotee. He has spiritualized his action. So the laws of material nature doesn't apply to him. Another beautiful pastime I heard. I will keep on speaking unless otherwise anyone else has a comment or any question. Okay. Another pastime. Once in a temple, Srila Prabhupada was there. The arti was going on, and the pujari was trying to blow the conch shell, right? Before the arti, we blow the shank, conch shell. And for some reason, it was not blowing. He was not able to blow. So Srila Prabhupada looked at him, and he looked back at Srila Prabhupada and kind of expressing that, I think the conch shell is not good. So Srila Prabhupada went there and he took the conch shell from him without even taking a breath, because it was so tightly packed that one of the devotees, and his name is His Grace Radhakund Das Prabhu, he said, I was really near the heart of Prabhupada, the chest of Srila Prabhupada. It was so tightly packed. And Srila Prabhupada took that conch shell without even taking a breath. He perfectly blew that conch shell 3 times. Do we understand what it means without taking a breath? Try it without taking a breath. There's no way we can blow a conch shell. So again, the devotees, they are beyond the laws of material nature. So, and so what should we do? We can say, oh, he's a pure devotee. What can we do? No, so we have to follow the process. If our goal is Krishna, the love of Krishna, and to go back to him and serve him, then we have to follow the process. To at least our goal should be to become a pure devotee. So we should find out how we can become the pure devotee. We should follow these acharyas, these pure devotees, and we should follow their instructions. And the best instruction given by Srila Prabhupada is chant Hare Krishna every day and serve devotees. And when we say chant, we should try to chant offenselessly. What does it mean? We should try to chant with as much focus as possible. Fixed number of rounds. Any comments? Any questions so far?
Prabhuji, I have one question.
Yeah.
It wasn't related to the earlier class, but just like the recent pastimes you were talking about, Srila Prabhupada. You said briefly not to imitate, but to follow. And I know like having that borderline of what is imitation and what is following. Could you clarify what would be a good like diagnostic or a good way to tell whether you're trying to follow Srila Prabhupada or you're trying to imitate Srila Prabhupada or any like pure soul?
Right. So when we say don't imitate, don't copy, but follow their instructions, mean we are at the sadhak level, right? So we can say Srila Prabhupada, or let's say Haridas Thakur, he used to chant so many rounds, 300,000 rounds every day. But we should not think, okay, I will only chant, I will just chant the whole day and that's it. Because of that, our mind is not that much capable. We are not that much pure that we can chant whole day. So we cannot imitate Haridas Thakur. How we can follow him? That we should set aside number of rounds that I will chant, and at least those few rounds, 16 rounds or whatever rounds we are doing, we do it with full focus like Srila Haridas Thakur. Now we know Maya tested him, right, when he was chanting. So, but he was not distracted. So this is called as not imitating. It's not like I will go in the forest or I will go in isolation and just chant. No, we are not at that level. To come to that level, we have to serve also in action, and then we can become purified. And yeah, in the later stages of life, definitely we will come to a state where we can chant all the time. That is one of the examples. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sure. Anyone else have any question or any comments? So it's almost 9 o'clock. Anything? I was hoping a lot of questions actually, because this is a very confusing section of the chapter. There should be some few questions to clarify the concept. Okay, if no question, then another important point is, when we are talking about following the process of Krishna consciousness, one of the important ingredients is enthusiasm. We have to be very, very enthusiastic, always excited. Srila Gurudev always says in his classes, we have to be eager. That when will I get chance to serve? How can I serve? That excitement should be there. Utsaha nishya dhairyat. Without enthusiasm, we cannot complete anything, right, in this world. Even our material duties, we need some kind of enthusiasm. So that enthusiasm has to be there. And when we are eager to serve Krishna, Krishna helps. So because we all know chanting is difficult, man nahi lagta, we are not able to focus, distractions are there. So we on ourselves, we cannot really follow the process also. We are so weak. But when Krishna sees our sincere desire, our eagerness at least, we'll make mistakes, that's perfectly fine. But when he sees our enthusiasm, he reciprocates by, giving us some help through directly or especially through devotees. So I will narrate a very nice pastime of His Holiness Bhakti Tirth Swami Maharaj that I heard a month or 2 months back. So His Holiness Bhakti Tirth Maharaj, he was living in Gita Nagari. We all know Gita Nagari, right? About a couple of hours from Reading. This is one of the farmland, and he was in Gita Nagari, and suddenly, for some reason, some situation came up where the temple had to pay, I think, $30,000 to somebody, or either they have to pay. I think it was some kind of lease or something, or they have to vacate. There was a deadline. So only few days were left, and all the god brothers of Bhakti Tirth Maharaj were asking him to do something because he was actually handling the project. So Maharaj said, I am eager to serve Sri Radha Damodar wherever he takes me. So let's see what he desires. He had so much faith in Sri Radha Damodar ji. Sri Radha Damodar ji is the deity on the Vigraha in the Gita Nagari. So one day Maharaj was doing the arti on the altar, totally absorbed, totally in very bhav, and because that issue was there, and that was an issue that was Krishna conscious related issue, during arti he was also thinking about what to do, to solve this issue in hand, and he was praying eager to serve. He was praying eagerly to Radha Damodar, and he accepted, we don't know how to arrange this money. If you so desire, Radha Damodar, then it will be arranged. We have full faith. And suddenly he heard a voice, and he doesn't know where it came from. He heard a voice, Henry, Henry, Henry. So Maharaj went off the altar after Aarti, and Maharaj knew there is a person called with the name Henry in the congregation. So he started looking for that person because he didn't know where this voice is coming from. And he approached Henry, and usually he was not going to ask anybody, for this big amount to donate. But because he heard, he had this realization, he explained the problem to Henry. And he said, because I'm asking you only because I am inspired by Radha Damodar to approach you. And Mr. Henry started crying. He folded his hands. Why? Because he revealed, just 3 days ago, I have won $30,000 in lottery. And I'm happy to donate all that Lakshmi to Gita Nagari. So this shows the faith, right? And how Krishna helps when we are eager to help him. The problems will come, the situations will happen, lot of things will happen in the congregation, lot of outside situation will come, lot of challenges will come. But if we are serious in our endeavor, Krishna will reciprocate. So wonderful pastime of how Shri Radha Damodar reciprocated with Maharaj. And that gives us a lot of faith. So I will conclude here that we as living entity are entrapped in this cycle of action and reactions due to attachment with the body. Although we are not this body, we all know that. We are on chapter 5 now. So I hope we all know that. But now we have to realize that. And because we are thinking we are this body, we are going through these actions and reactions. So for eternal happiness and what we have to do, we have to attach. Now the problem is just knowing is not good enough. It's very hard to put in practice that I am soul, I'm not this body. So what we have to do, the sadhak part is, the practice part is, instead of attaching ourselves more and more to body and bodily connections and bodily activities, we connect all those activities and attach ourselves to Krishna and devotees, to his names, to his pastimes, to his holy places, to his devotees, to his kirtan. Just like mother and child. When a child is born, mother's 24/7 meditation is on the child. Nothing else. No matter what, nothing matters to her. Even her own personal comforts mean nothing to her. Even when she is in pain or discomfort, still she's worrying about the child, right? So in that way, we have that's the only solution to this problem. There is no magic. We have to put our efforts. We have to put it in action. So I will stop here. It's 9:06. Anything any devotee would like to share, please feel free. As I said, it has to be discussion, and we can share our realizations, our challenges, our obstacles, and benefit from each other's experiences. Anyone would like to share anything? I hope everyone is awake. Hari Bol. Can all of us say Hari Bol? Unmute ourselves.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Haribol. Haribol.
Haribol.
Haribol.
Okay. Okay. So, okay. Haribol. Wonderful. So if no comments and anything you might have liked, at least we can hear that. So I know it was useful or not. Anything you would have liked from today's discussion or was not good?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, sorry for unmuting so much. One point that I liked that was part of the purport that you expanded on was that because of envy of Krishna, that's why we're in the material world. And I was just thinking that like oftentimes when you get like associated with like Krishna conscious knowledge, you hear this point a lot, like, oh, we came to the material world because we envied Krishna. And I remember like earlier on when I used to hear this, I used to think like, why, who would like envy God? Like he's the greatest, and like all the scriptures describe about like just being servant of God is blissful in itself. So who would be like, in other words, like stupid enough to like envy God? And I remember reading in His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami's book called Surrender, that actually if you're envying other devotees, that in a way is envying Krishna. Because because
Yeah.
I didn't think about it that way at all. So it like really struck me. And Maharaj said that it's because Krishna was the one who put that person in that position. So if you like if you envied somebody that had a lot of wealth, Krishna gave them that wealth. Krishna like facilitated that. So in a way, that envy is a negative thought towards Krishna. So that kind of made more sense as to how I probably got myself in this mess. So I'm slowly trying to undo that. But that's just a reflection I had from the class today. Thank you for the class also. It was very nice.
Thank you so much for bringing that solution to, that verse. That, envy is the reason we came in this world, but what to do about it? So these are the three foundation principles: Jeev Daya, Nam Ruchi, Vaishnav Seva. If we have Jeev Daya, meaning no violence, no meat eating, Nam Ruchi, chanting, and Vaishnav Seva, right? These are the solution to that problem. So again, a lot is on us, but again, it all starts with Harinam Jap. If we can do our Harinam Jap every day regularly, not casually, but with full focus, at least Guru Maharaj says take 2 hours sannyas every day. At least that you have to do for chanting, for Nam Jap. So whether we are in sannyasi or not, we have to take that sannyas for 2 hours every day. And that is the real sannyas. Detached from everything else, only Nam Jap. If we are not able to do it on ourselves, get with devotees. But we have to then share our heart with devotees who can help somebody, right? And then take their help. We can get together and do Harinam. But that's the most important thing. And once we do that, everything will fall in place. So thank you for bringing that point, Vishaka. Anyone else would like to share anything? Okay. No questions, no comments. So before we go to Lord Narasimha prayers, today it was a wonderful presentation by Manasvi Mataji. All glories to her. So we all can chant Hari Bol for her. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari
Manasvi
Bol.
going to enlighten us next week. Let me share the schedule. And I think it will be Amish. Yes. So next week it will be Amish. So we'll hear from him, and all of you also can put your topics. I have the name listed for next many weeks actually until July. So please put your name against your name. You can put the topics, and we will love to hear from everybody. And so if nothing else, okay, one more thing we are planning is the Guar Purnima celebration. Before that, I think Shivratri is coming. That is on 11th of March, and that is Thursday. So what do everyone think about celebrating Shivratri? Again, it will be online because of the obvious situation right now. Do we want to celebrate on Thursday or in our Friday program that week? Whatever all of us think is good, we can go by that. Either way is fine. If no response, I would take it as Friday.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Didi.
Yeah, Thursday is fine, Prabhuji, same day.
Same day is good. Okay, so we can do a short program
Yeah,
like
that's good.
we did for Nityanand Prabhu. Okay,
Yeah, that would be nice.
is that okay?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sure, Mataji. So does that work with everyone? 7:30 p.m. on Thursday, 11th March, I think.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, wonderful. So now the next festival is going is about Gaur Punya festival. Wonderful festival coming up. So I think it is on 28th of February, sorry, March, and that is Sunday. I think that is the actual day. So again, we don't think that we will be out of this COVID thing by then. So we will have a program on 28th, and it's it's like a Janmashtami or even more than that in some sense. So unfortunately, we'll not be able to get together. So we will plan something that we can celebrate on the same day with some nice bhajans, kirtan, and some nice Gaur Katha. So I will send some communication and let's have a nice program on that Sunday. So I hope that will work out for everyone. We can start at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. on Sunday. So we will communicate more on that. So just a heads up on that. Two festivals coming up in this month. If anyone has any ideas, please feel free to share. Don't hesitate. This is for all of us. These celebrations are all for all of us, for our purity. So please feel free to suggest anything you would like to. I heard somebody was unmuting, so please, you can unmute and share.
We can do some virtual drama.
Oh yes, that will be nice. Anyone would like to take the ownership of that? Okay, we can talk to devotees offline and see who all is available and can do something like that. Yeah. Any other ideas? Please feel free to share by email. We can talk on the phone, and our WhatsApp group is already there, right? We can always share the ideas. So that's how we have to practice this Krishna consciousness. This is the only way. There is no magic. We have to think about these festivals. We should be excited about these festivals, and we should plan for these festivals. Maybe small celebration, whatever it could be, but we have to do it. That will keep us enthusiastic and excited. So with that, anyone would like to sing Lord Narasimha prayers today? Any volunteers we have? I see Ansh. Ansh, would you like to sing?
Oh yeah, I can sing.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Haribol.
Okay. Namaste Narasimhaya.
Simhaya.
Praladadayine.
Praladadayine.
Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Shilasankanakayale. Ito nashima parato nashinho. Yato yato yami tato nashima. Bahir nashima idyaye nashinho. Narasing mamadin sharanam prapade. Tava kara kamala vadenakam advuta shringam talitar hiranyakashipur tanubringam keshavadita narahari rupa jaya jagadisha hare jaya jagadisha hare jaya jagadisha hare.
Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu
Keshavadeta Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare
Jaya Narsinghadev, Jaya Narsinghadev, Jaya Narsinghadev, Jaya Narsinghadev.
Jaya
Narasimhadev
Jaya Jaya
Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj.
Jaya
Prahlad
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada.
Narsingh Bhagwan ki,
Jai,
Prahlad Maharaj ki,
Jai,
Jai Gaur Premanandi.
Hari Hari Bol, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Ansh. So thank you all. Thank you all the devotees for joining today. Hare Krishna, Darpan Prabhu, you still there? Darpan Prabhu, you still there? Okay. So thank you everyone for.
Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for joining. I hope you can join every week.
Yeah.
Nice to have you. Anything you would like to say, Prabhu?
No, it was very nice. It was knowledgeable. So I was trying to gain as much as I can. It's
Sure.
a lot of information. Yeah.
No problem. No problem. So thank you so much for joining. How's everything going on?
Everything is good. Good.
Thank you. So thank you everyone for joining on this Friday, and we will communicate for the next two festivals. Please enthusiastically participate, and whatever ideas, it could be it doesn't have to be a new idea. It could be the same idea that we have been doing all the time, but let's show some enthusiasm and encourage each other, and let's come out with nice plan to celebrate next two festivals. Thank you very much. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Take care of yourself. Hari Bol.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna all.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.